It's something you never like to see as a league.
At this point, I don't care about that man, honestly. We don't get paid to come out here and try to babysit somebody.
In the past couple months, throughout the entire NBA, All-Star Ben Simmons has become enemy number one. NBA legends are clowning him.
Ben's feelings is hurt. Who's going to want to pay a guy $150 that's not going to shoot the ball in the fourth quarter?
Nobody. When people ask you to be a better basketball player and they're paying you $35-40 million, that's a very fair thing. It's a joke. It's stupid and it's silly.
Teammates and coaches are giving up on him.
Doc, do you think Ben Simmons can still be a point guard for a championship team like the one you guys want to become?
Yeah, David, I don't know that question or the answer to that right now.
I'll be honest, but I thought the turning point was just how we had an open shot.
And trolls on Twitter are having an absolute field day. Just a couple years ago, Ben Simmons was just a young fan favorite who you'd always find in one of two places, either in front of the three-point line because he can't shoot, or at a Kardashian's house. Well, today, the same man whose whereabouts used to be so predictable cannot be found anywhere. Ben Simmons has gotten so angry at the 76ers organization that he's gone missing from every single preseason game they had. Like, he literally just didn't show up. And he's been fined over $1 million in the span of just 2 weeks for his actions. He's threatened to not show up for the entire season if he doesn't get traded, and everyone in the NBA is infuriated. Joel Embiid, who's also a star player on the 76ers, is even going on national television to say that he's not Ben's babysitter.
At this point, I don't care about that man, honestly. We don't get paid to come out here and try to babysit somebody.
Things within the Sixers organization have gone completely south, and everyone wants to know why. So, how did this happen? How did Ben Simmons, who's probably in a mansion with 13 women right now, find himself in a beef with Joel Embiid? And how did this beef escalate so quickly to where we have the literal NBA commissioner getting involved?
It's something you never like to see as a league. But again, both sides have rights.
Well, that is exactly what we're going to document in this video. This is the story of Ben Simmons versus Joel Embiid. Well, honestly, it's more like Ben Simmons versus the entire NBA.
Bruh.
Let me leave. But before we get into this video, run that intro.
Put it on my soul, don't want no handouts, I'll do it on my own. Troubled as a teen, skipping class like they songs. I get down to my last, then I'm running in your own. Mine's blowing on my phone, trying to see where I'm at.
Alright y'all, before you get into this video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and turn on post notifications. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers right now, and I really think that we can hit it soon. I've only had this channel for 2 months, so it's crazy how much love we've been getting. Also, follow my Instagram, @DocUpYT. We're on the road to 1,000 followers on there. My computer actually fried in the middle of editing my last video, so I had to get a whole new computer for this one. Grind doesn't stop. Thank you guys for all the support, and let me run my disclaimer real quick so don't get absolutely set on fire in the comment section. All information I state in this video is from YouTube videos and articles that I gathered online. Do not take what I state in this video as law. I am literally just a dude, so obviously it would be impossible for me to know everything that goes on behind the scenes. I just try my absolute best to put all the pieces together based on what's pushed out to the public. And without further ado, let's get into the video. As usual, I'm going to start by introducing the main people involved in this beef. First, being Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is the current point guard / small forward for the 76ers. He's a 3-time NBA All-Star and a 2-time member of the All-NBA Defensive First Team. He's known to be a star difference maker type player, and he's also known to be an absolute menace on the defensive side of the ball. However, what he's most famous for is actually his inability to shoot the 3-ball. Although Ben Simmons is a point guard, which stereotypically are one of the best 3-point shooters on the team, Ben Simmons shoots a whopping .147% from the 3-point line. In his 275 games that he's played in the NBA, he's only made 5 3-pointers. 5. To put this in context, Manute Bol, a man tied for being the tallest NBA player in NBA history, made 20. In his first season, Ben Simmons' lack of shooting ability has become a meme throughout the basketball community. And it's actually kind of ironic because Ben Simmons not shooting the ball was actually the root of the beef that you're going to see in this video. Just stay tuned. And being that Ben has been a star basketball player all of his life, Ben is also known to have a lot of pride. The next person I'm going to be introducing is Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is said to be the franchise player of the 76ers. This just means that he's who the front office sees as the most valuable player. He's a 4-time NBA All-Star and a 3-time member of the All-NBA second team. He's known to be a really funny guy who wears his heart on his sleeve on the basketball court. All he really wants is to win his first championship, and every time he falls short, it breaks him. The Philadelphia 76ers as a whole have not won a championship with this squad. No matter what they do, they just can't seem to do it. And this has caused frustration within the whole organization. The following people I'm about to introduce have smaller roles in this beef, so I'm going to introduce them off in rapid fire. Doc Rivers is the current coach of the 76ers. Before coaching, he also played in the NBA for 13 seasons. He's known to be an extremely solid coach and for being very expressive in off-guard photos without even meaning to. Adam Silver is the commissioner of the NBA, so pretty much he's like the governor who controls all the rules and all that. And Shaquille O'Neal is Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley is Charles Barkley, and Kenny Smith is a previous NBA veteran turned amazing commentator. If you don't know who these guys are, you live under a rock. Alright, now let's get into the video. It all started June 20th, 2021. It's Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Semifinals. Ben Simmons and the 76ers, who are currently ranked #1 in the entire Eastern Conference, are in a heated playoff game versus the Atlanta Hawks. There's less than 4 minutes left in the game, and Simmons' team is down 2 points. In this playoff series, for some reason, Simmons didn't take a single shot in the fourth quarter for 3 games straight, and no one on the entire planet can explain why. Just look at this graphic. Like, he actually did not take 1 shot in the fourth quarter for 3 playoff games straight. Like, this is real. So, the 76ers are a favorite to win the championship this year. But, in order to do that, they have to win this game. If they lose, their entire season is over. Everyone on the 76ers team is pouring their soul into this game, and fans everywhere are glued to their screens. Joel Embiid and the rest of 76ers teammates are giving it everything they got, but they can't seem to tie the game. Simmons, being one of the star players of the team, asks for the ball in the post and tries to take the game into his own hands. He then proceeds to summon the power of 1,000 Kardashian sisters and backs down his defender of all the strength he has. The defender, however, has a wife, so he holds his own strongly. Ben can barely get an inch of space, and the defender reaches in to steal the ball. He almost succeeds, but then, at the last second, Ben spins. He completely dusts his defender, and he has a wide open lane bigger than a freeway at 4 a.m. A grandmom can make this layup. Fans everywhere are screaming and high-fiving each other in anticipation. It looks like the 76ers are finally going to tie the game. All he has to do is dunk the ball, and he's 6'10", 6 feet, 10 inches. This is a shoo-in. They got this. Did he just pass it? Instead of taking the wide open dunk, Ben Simmons decides to pass the ball. This infuriates Philly fans everywhere. Simultaneously, a million Philadelphia fans start screaming, and they're in absolute disbelief. They're saying things like, "There's no way that just happened. I'm tripping, right? I'm tripping. Please tell me I'm tripping, bro. This did not just happen." Well, Philly fans, in fact, were not tripping. Ben Simmons completely passed up the wide open dunk he had in order to give it to his teammate, who proceeded to do this. After getting jumped at the rim, his teammate proceeded to only make 1 free throw, and as a direct result of Ben Simmons not taking this wide open dunk, the 76ers lost the game, lost the series, and their championship run ended right here. Joel Embiid is absolutely devastated. Philadelphia fans everywhere were heartbroken, and if you ever watched The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or know anything about Philadelphia, you know that Philadelphia isn't the most forgiving place. And by isn't the most, I mean that if there was a list of the most unforgiving people on earth, probably somewhere underneath your mean science teacher who didn't give you an extension on your paper and your toxic ex-girlfriend who you dumped would be the entire state of Philadelphia's population. So after this game, Ben was getting boos everywhere he went. And it got so bad that Joel Embiid, his own teammate, blamed him for the loss in the post-game interview.
What was the moment where your belief of this being the Sixers' year turned to the recognition that it just wasn't going to happen?
Man, I'll be honest, but I thought the turning point was just, we had an open shot.
After Joel Embiid does this, even Coach Doc Rivers couldn't hold in his feelings towards Ben. So when he was asked if he believed that Ben could still be a point guard for a championship team, he proceeded to say this, obviously in complete disbelief about everything he just witnessed.
Doc, you think Ben Simmons can still be a point guard for a championship team like the one you guys want to become?
Yeah, David, I don't know that question or the answer to that right now.
Keep these interviews by Embiid and Coach Rivers in mind, because Ben ended up feeling very disrespected by these answers. But after this game, Ben also was interviewed, and the reporters were honestly completely wild of how they asked him questions. One reporter straight up asked him if he thinks that this is his last game in Philly because he got booed so much.
There were a few chants that were going out there asking trade Ben Simmons, stuff like that. Do you feel like you played your last few minutes here in Philadelphia?
I feel like we just lost game 7. That's about it.
I seriously don't know what he expected Ben to say. Like, did he expect him to just be like, "Oh yeah, man, they're about to kick me out of the city"? Like, what? But so then, after responding to that question, the reporter asks him if he wants to stay in Philly. He responds with this.
Would you like to remain in Philadelphia?
Pardon?
I'm pretty sure Ben heard him the first time, but I feel like he said this pardon in order to control the true thoughts he had in his head. So then, after remembering his media training, he proceeds to say his politically correct ass answer.
Would you like to remain in Philadelphia?
Yeah, I mean, I love being in Philly. I love this organization. The fans are great people. I had a bad series. I expect that. It's Philly.
After this, a reporter low-key flames him while asking why he passed the ball, and stating both his height and weight.
But you gave up a dunk opportunity right there, and I know you're a pass-first guy, but you're also 6'10" and 240. Is there something going on in your head where you just feel like you can't shoot at some times?
Nah, I just assumed Gallo was coming over my back, and then Collins moved out, and so I thought he just had a wide open dunk.
After these interviews are conducted, both Embiid and Doc Rivers' interviews go absolutely viral, with Joel Embiid's clip getting over 1 million views. Given that these clips went so viral, one of these million views was probably Ben Simmons, and he didn't like what they had to say at all. So all of this that you have just seen was the starting point of the whole beef. Joel Embiid and the rest of the 76ers were mad at Ben for not taking a wide open dunk to win the game and send him to the conference finals. And Ben was mad at the 76ers for throwing him under the bus in front of the entire world. At this point in time, the beef surrounding this event is only an internal situation amongst the 76ers organization, and it's pretty much the equivalent of a dude doing something embarrassing and then proceeding to fight for his life in the group chat. Now that the season is over, Ben and the rest of the 76ers aren't really on speaking terms, and they proceed to grab a bunch of Instagram models, I imagine, and then fly off into their respective summer homes. Ben then doesn't communicate with any of his teammates or coaches for a couple months. So pretty much, Ben left the group chat, August 21st, 2021. Ben Simmons finally joins the group chat again. Okay, so pretty much he just came back to talking to everyone. But he tells the 76ers that he wants to get traded.
We've got breaking news in the NBA. Ben Simmons telling the Philadelphia front office that he does not want to be a 76er anymore.
When this news breaks, Skip and Shannon, a dynamic duo in the NBA scene, talk about Ben wanting to leave. Shannon states that Ben wants to leave because of what Coach Rivers and Embiid said in those interviews, and he says that the 76ers can never go back from that.
Yeah, but it's just time for Ben Simmons to exit the 76ers. You can't ask Doc Rivers, do you think you can win a championship with Ben Simmons as your starting point guard?
I don't know the answer to that right now, said Doc Rivers to that question.
Then you ask your superstar, what do you think the turning point of the game was?
Yeah, I don't know how to say it, but it was when we had an open shot.
But it was Ben that had the layup.
Right.
You got basically the head coach and the superstar saying that it was your fault.
I do not blame Ben Simmons for saying that's enough.
Right.
We're done. We're out. We will hold out if you don't move us now.
Right.
At this point, no action has been made regarding Ben actually getting traded, so the majority of the basketball community didn't really talk about it that much. I honestly think a lot of people took this as a joke. September 21st, 2021. This is where everything really starts to go down. Adrian Wojnarowski, one of the most respected NBA insiders on the planet, who's known to always be the first person to report on big news, tweets out that Ben Simmons refused to go to training camp and that he doesn't want to ever play for the 76ers again. Once Woj tweets this, the internet absolutely explodes. It's pretty much known throughout the community that whenever Woj tweets something, it's real. So memes about Ben Simmons start getting posted everywhere. Philly fans are still mad at Ben for that dunk, so the memes reflect this anger. I'll show a couple of them on the screen right now.
It's gonna be a problem.
Later this day, Woj and sports reporter Max Kellerman go on ESPN to talk about the whole situation. They say this.
Why is Ben Simmons taking this stance now to never play for the Sixers again?
Max, really unprecedented, especially a player with 4 years left on his deal. Ben Simmons believes his fastest way out of Philadelphia is to sit out and essentially put the Sixers season in peril. This is a team that was the #1 seed in the East last year, has championship aspirations, Joel Embiid in his prime, and without Ben Simmons, there's a gaping hole in that team. It's not a championship contender, and I think Ben Simmons believes he can hold out, perhaps without getting paid, without money, longer than the Sixers can hold out with him not on the floor and essentially maybe costing them the season. This is really a game of chicken.
Max then throws in an unnecessary jab at Ben Simmons' ability to shoot by saying this.
He must really hate it in Philly because it's not like he's going to magically learn to shoot as soon as he leaves. Shooting is the fun part, Ben. Come on, practice the shot.
Woj then explains how difficult the situation is for the 76ers. He explains that it's really hard to trade Ben Simmons because they're trying to win a championship right now rather than for the future. And usually when people try to trade stars, they trade stars for future draft picks or future talent. And he explains that it's very hard to trade a star for a current star, especially one who's performing as bad as Ben is and has that big of a contract.
It is really difficult to trade a player of Ben Simmons' magnitude when you're a contender and you're trying to get back a return that keeps you a championship contender. Typically when players of his stature are getting traded, they're in teams that are headed into rebuilds and they want picks and young players. Philadelphia wants back established star players. That makes this more complicated.
They then start talking about how much money Ben's going to miss out on if he chooses to just continue boycotting the team and sit out this year.
Aside from not getting paid, what fines could Simmons incur if he doesn't show up?
There are a lot of levers in the NBA for a player, the ultimate being failure to render services, and that essentially could cost him his salary. He makes $33 million this year. He's owed $147 over 4 years. But if he doesn't show up at all, they have it certainly within their rights to withhold salary. And so you've got a Sixer organization going, how long will Ben Simmons go without getting paid? He's telling them, I will go the distance. I will sit out the season if I don't get a trade. And so this is going to be fascinating to watch.
September 27th, 2021. NBA TV does a segment where they talk about the whole situation. Joel Embiid even hops on the show and states that it's a tough situation that Ben isn't there training with them.
What are your thoughts on what's happening right now as you launch training camp without one of your star players and maybe he'll not be back?
It's a tough situation.
Now, in the next 2 weeks following these events, Ben is warned that if he keeps not showing up to things, he's going to get fined. However, Ben just doesn't care at all. He doesn't care so much, and he's so eager to leave the Sixers, that instead of just vocalizing his frustration some more, he proceeds to continue not showing up to things. And these things I'm talking about was the entire preseason. He missed the entire preseason, every single game. And the NBA was not playing either. He got fined for every single game. October 4th, Sixers vs Raptors, doesn't show up, $360,000 fine. October 7th, they play the Raptors again, doesn't show up again, another $360,000 fine. October 11th, 76ers vs Nets, Ben probably didn't even wake up, another $360,000 fine. October 15th, Sixers vs Pistons, Ben probably forgot he was even a basketball player, another $360,000 fine. All in all, in this 2-week time span, Ben gets fined over $1.4 million. That's more than I'll probably see in my entire life, and he got fined that in 2 weeks. So yeah, 4 days pass and it's the morning of October 19th, 2021. Ben gets bored of the 17 Instagram models he flew in from across the globe, I imagine, and decides he's actually going to show up to practice. Obviously, I couldn't find a video of what occurred, but the closest thing I could find was this explanation.
You know, what we're able to see of the actual practice is limited, but the reports that have surfaced over the past few days is that Ben has been basically consistently unengaged, kind of lackadaisical at practice. To be frank, is kind of to be expected. Obviously, he didn't want to be there. The situation is still very far from being resolved, and behavior like this could potentially continue until a trade is ultimately made.
So pretty much, Ben was just refusing to listen to the coach and was being a menace during practice. He was so bad in his practice that the coach actually kicked him out of the entire facility. Yes, grown man Doc Rivers had to kick grown man Ben Simmons out of a basketball practice because he wouldn't follow directions. That is a real thing that occurred. Right after the practice is over, the Sixers front office hears about what happened and suspends Ben. Woj, of course, is the first to tweet about this. When this news breaks out that Ben literally got kicked out of practice and suspended because he couldn't follow directions, it goes crazy viral. Woj's tweet alone gets over 60,000 likes, and the NBA community is absolutely going in on Ben. Later this day, Joel Embiid is asked about what he thinks about how Ben acted in practice, and he proceeds to pretty much just say that he's not a babysitter. He then says some other things.
At this point, I don't care about that man, honestly. He does whatever he wants. We don't get paid to come out here and try to babysit somebody, and we really focus on just winning championship. It is not my problem.
The whole NBA community starts giving their 2 cents on this situation. Even Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley, and Shaquille O'Neal, who are all NBA legends, chime in.
It's a joke. It's stupid and it's silly. When people ask you to be a better basketball player and they're paying you $35-40 million, that's a very fair thing.
If the coach tells you to jump in a drill, you don't refuse. You don't refuse. Who's going to want to pay a guy $150 that's not going to shoot the ball in the fourth quarter?
Nobody. Joel Embiid needs to say, listen, man, I'm the best player here. This is my team. I ain't got time for this BS that this dude got going on.
Even the commissioner of the NBA, Adam Silver, starts talking about it.
Ben Simmons, he was suspended for the season opener by the 76ers. What are you hearing from teams and owners?
This is nothing new, frankly, in the league, unfortunately. I mean, there's players over many decades who've held out of contracts, didn't go to the team that drafted them, held out of training camp, etc. So it's something you never like to see as a league. But again, both sides have rights, and so it's an unfortunate situation.
The commissioner is then asked if he will create a new law that will prevent the situation from happening in the future. He pretty much just says no because he has no clue what the law would be.
Will you look to incorporate new player penalties to prevent situations like Simmons in the next collective bargaining agreement?
A player is always going to have the ability to withhold his services, and then a team is going to have the ability to not pay that player and potentially sanction that player. That's what's happening here. It's not clear to me what provision would have avoided this. If a player is determined not to want to play in a particular market and is willing to accept the consequences, meaning he doesn't get paid and he gets fined on top of that, here we're back at it again.
Now, Fast forward 24 hours. Ben is now $1 million down the drain, and he has had every NBA legend who's ever walked planet Earth scolding him. He decides to have a sit-down meeting with his 76ers teammates. During the meeting, it sounds like he apologized for how he's been acting, and Joel Embiid speaks on how the meeting went. He sounds very hopeful that things are going to be good between them, because at the end of the day, they're just trying to win.
It was good, finally. That was the first time any of us heard it. I thought it was good for the group.
Are you hopeful that things can continue to move in a good direction?
Oh yeah, that's the first step. We are better with him. I wouldn't mind playing with him. I know my teammates also wouldn't, because at the end of the day, we're just trying to win.
The next day, Woj is on TV again with Vince Carter. Apparently, on this day, Ben Simmons got out of bed, got dressed to hoop, and walked over to the Sixers practice facility. However, when he got to the practice facility, he took a COVID test, got his back checked out, and then just walked straight back home. Not even kidding. Just look.
But I'm told Ben Simmons came in, he took his COVID test, he did that brief treatment on his back, and then left the facility. He has yet to go through a full practice with the Sixers.
NBA legend Vince Carter then says that the Sixers need to just part ways with Ben entirely, and that he's a distraction.
I mean, it's just another stone on the wall. I think we all understand it's time to move Ben Simmons. And at this point, we've heard what Ben Simmons requested this summer and leading up to the training camp, not showing up, not wanting to play, getting thrown out. All of these things are a distraction. Just imagine Ben Simmons comes back to play. You're putting him in a situation where every game that he plays is a road game.
So what Vince Carter is saying here is actually an insanely good point. He's saying that because now that Ben Simmons has all his negative media attention and it's known that he wants to leave the organization, the fans are probably going to boo him in every single game. So you're putting him in a situation to get booed, and that's probably just going to end up worsening team morale. That was a really good point.
Every game's a road game, and that's a distraction for him because he's going to get booed, and he's going to get booed loudly. I think it's time to move on.
Later that day, Daryl Morey, the president of the 76ers, speaks on Ben Simmons and what he sees as the future of the organization. He states that Ben Simmons is a difference maker and that they're planning to integrate him with the team. He also states that it'll be stupid for them to trade Ben Simmons right now because Ben has absolutely no trade value. And he admits that if they could exchange Ben Simmons for another star, that he would do it in a heartbeat.
Bottom line is Ben Simmons is a difference maker. Our hope is to reintegrate him in the team. We know we're a better team with Ben Simmons, and we know that that's the best plan for the team. The reality is we have a very good team. Ben Simmons is a difference maker. I know right now there are people who are down on Ben Simmons, and there are good reasons for that, I think. But the reality is this guy's a multi-time All-Star, so unless the coaches in the league who voted for him have lost their minds and don't know what an All-Star is anymore, who's one of the most impactful defensive players in the league, this is a very good player. And to give ourselves the best chance to win the title, you need difference makers. You don't need role players. Right now, any sort of trade, which obviously Ben Simmons wants, the best thing we can do is get role players back. That makes no sense. That will give us no better chance to win the title. So people should buckle in. This is going to go a long time because if we can trade Ben Simmons for a difference maker, we will do it. I think that's best for everyone in this situation.
And even later in this day, Woj tweets out that Ben said he got his back hurt, and Twitter starts having a field day once again. The memes are hilarious.
I broke my back.
What do you mean by that? Your
back is broken.
What, a vertebrae or what portion?
Spinal.
October 22nd, 2021. The 76ers are set to play a regular season game against the Brooklyn Nets, but Ben Simmons says he's quote-unquote not mentally ready. I have no clue what that means, and neither did Twitter. Ben Simmons officially sits out of the game, and the Sixers lose by 5 points. However, at the end of this game, Joel Embiid grabs the microphone and asks to speak to the fans. He then tells the fans that Ben Simmons is still their brother.
What's up, guys? It's good to have you back. On behalf of my teammates, the organization, and myself, I just want to say thank you for your support. A lot has happened the last few months, and I urge you guys to continue to support us and our teammate Ben, because it's still our brother. Let's go.
Once again, Joel Embiid.
And this leads us to where we are now. At the point I'm recording this video, Ben Simmons still has not played a single game for the Sixers. He is losing all my money that I've saved in my bank account times 10 on a daily basis. He also is still begging to get traded and is doing anything that he can possibly do to make that happen. Meanwhile, the Sixers are currently in 9th place in the standings with a 1-1 record. Joel Embiid seems to be focused on nothing but winning, and that's all he wants to do, whether that means with Ben Simmons or not. It's going to be crazy to see how this plays out. I wonder if Ben will ever just give in and start playing again, or if the 76ers are just going to end up trading him. I also wonder that if he starts playing again, if they'll have some miraculous season and then somehow get that Disney Storyline championship. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you guys think about this whole situation in the comment section down below. Do you side with Ben Simmons, or do you side with Joel Embiid? Do you think Ben Simmons is in his right to just sit out of the whole season, or do you think that he should just start playing for the 76ers regardless of everything that they say? Or do you side with Joel Embiid? Let me know in the comments. This entire storyline is pretty crazy and is still unfolding to this day. hey, if people want to see more of the storyline, we'll try to make a part 2. If you're new to my channel and you like this video as well as basketball content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to that 20,000 subscriber mark right now, and I really think that we can hit it soon. I've only had this channel for 2 months, so this love has been absolutely amazing. And also, if you guys could like the video as well, that'd be dope. I put a lot of time into these videos, so all that engagement really helps a lot. And follow my Instagram at DocOfYT. I really enjoy making this video. Thank you if you watched this far. I hope this video helped you guys know what's going on, and without further ado, I'm out. Peace!
Hey, my mama blew $100,000 in the 80s. Went back broke by the time that she had a baby. Tried to teach me lessons on how to get money and save it, but I ain't listen. I had to show up in the latest 10th grade, getting every Jordan release like they was Payless. Now I'm grown, so it's foreign cars and diamonds to make them statements.